Multiple studies confirm that dietary and lifestyle interventions in adults over 65 can alter cancer biomarkers and immune function within weeks of starting. Your cells don't have a birth certificate. They only know what signals you are sending them today.
Hello, I'm Dr. Davidson. You know, the hardest thing I have to do in my job, it isn't a grueling 12-hour triple bypass, not even close. The hardest thing I do is sitting across from a 65-year-old patient, someone who has, by all accounts, done everything right, only to have to tell them that a tumor has been growing silently inside them for the last decade.
Look, I've spent almost 30 years in the most intense places medicine has to offer. The ER, the cardiac operating room. I mean, I have literally held human hearts in my hands. I've made those split-second calls that decide whether someone goes home to their family or doesn't. And I'm telling you, nothing, absolutely nothing, prepares you for the moment you have to deliver that kind of news. And they almost always ask the same heartbreaking question. It's just filled with confusion and, frankly, fear. They look at me and say, "Why me, doc? I don't smoke. I barely drink. I thought I was healthy." Well, that's the exact question we are going to answer today, and I think the answer is going to surprise you.
So here's the unvarnished truth. After you hit 60, the biological game completely changes. I want you to think of your body like a bustling city. Up until now, your internal sanitation department has been top-notch. But once you're over 60, it's like these start a slow-motion strike. The garbage trucks get lazy, they miss pickups, and all this biological trash, damaged DNA, worn-out cells, it just starts to pile up. And that trash, that is the very seed of cancer.
But, and this is a huge but, there is a powerful message of hope here. The world's top cancer centers all agree. Nearly 4 out of every 10 cancer cases, that's 40%, are preventable. They're tied to lifestyle choices we can change. See, after 60, you can't just be healthy in a vague sense. You have to get strategic, metabolically strategic. So today, we're cutting through all the noise. We are going to focus on the only 5 daily habits that actually move the needle for cancer prevention after 60. And you're going to want to stick with me because habit number 1, well, it's something that I see 90% of people over 60 doing completely wrong. And I'm telling you, fixing it could be the single most important decision you ever make for your biological destiny.
All right, let's kick off our countdown at habit number 5. I call this one the morning launch. Think of it as a fundamental, daily reset for your body's internal clock and its waste removal system. Now, a lot of people just blow this off because it's free. But let me tell you, in my world, free doesn't mean weak. It often means powerful.
The protocol itself, it's almost laughably simple. First up, the 20-ounce rule. The second your feet hit the floor in the morning, drink 16 to 20 ounces of water. A little squeeze of lemon is great. Why? Well, after about 55, your brain's thirst signals actually start to weaken, so most of us are walking around chronically dehydrated. And your lymphatic system, remember those garbage trucks for damaged cells? It runs on water. No water, no cleanup. Simple as that. Second, the sunlight anchor. Within about 90 minutes of waking up, get 10 to 15 minutes of direct morning sunlight in your eyes. This is like a shot of espresso for your natural killer cells, the frontline soldiers that hunt down and destroy cancer cells. It also kickstarts your vitamin D production, which is crucial. Okay, moving on to habit number 4, metabolic movement. Now, as a heart surgeon, I've spent decades telling people to exercise for their heart, for their arteries, but the latest research is crystal clear. Movement is also a form of biochemical warfare against cancer.
And the scale of the effect here is just staggering. I mean, look at this. A massive study of 1.4 million adults found that just consistent, moderate physical activity was linked to a significantly lower risk of 13 different types of cancer. And for many of them, the risk reduction was over 40%. This isn't a small tweak, folks. This is a seismic shift.
So how do we actually do this? Well, the protocol is simple. It's called the 21-minute rule. You just aim for a moderate pace. A good rule of thumb is you can talk, but you'd find it hard to sing. You only need 150 minutes a week, which, you guessed it, breaks down to just 21 minutes a day. And this is so important, especially for this age group. Consistency is way more important than intensity. After 60, if you completely exhaust yourself, you can actually lower your immune defenses. We want to avoid that exhaustion trap at all costs. Let me tell you about my patient, Victor. He was 67, and his latest colonoscopy found 3 precancerous polyps. He was, understandably, terrified. We talked, and he committed to just one change: 25 minutes of brisk walking 5 days a week. That's it. 6 months later, his follow-up scope found only 1 polyp left. He came into my office, looked me right in the eye and said, "Doc, why did no one tell me this 20 years ago?" That's the power we're talking about here. All right, let's head into the kitchen for habit number 3, which I call the oncology kitchen. Major studies have pinpointed 5 specific foods just sitting there in your regular grocery store that literally function like targeted medicine in your body. So here they are, your 5 power foods. You've got black beans, which feed your good gut bacteria to create something called butyrate, which basically tells precancerous colon cells to self-destruct. You have walnuts, which interfere with a tumor's ability to build its own blood supply. Pumpkin seeds, which are loaded with zinc, a critical nutrient for your immune T cells. Broccoli, which has sulforaphane, I call it your DNA's head of security. And finally, cooked tomatoes, which are packed with lycopene, a real powerhouse against prostate cancer. Now hold on. With broccoli, there's a specific detail that almost everyone gets wrong. You see, that anti-cancer compound, sulforaphane, it doesn't actually exist in the whole vegetable. It's only created when you chop it up. But, and here's the catch, if you immediately throw it in a hot pan, you destroy the very enzyme needed to make it. The solution? It's called the chop and wait method. You just chop your broccoli and then let it sit on the cutting board for 40 to 45 minutes before you cook it. This one tiny change can massively increase its cancer-fighting power. It's a game changer.
Okay, on to habit number 2, oncological sleep. Now, as an ER doc who worked more night shifts than I can count, I used to think sleep was a luxury. I thought it was for the weak. Man, was I wrong. Sleep is a non-negotiable biological power wash for your entire system, from your brain to your toes. And the science behind this is just incredible. Back in 2013, researchers discovered something called the glymphatic system. It's basically this waste clearance network that uses fluid to flush all the toxic proteins and cellular junk out of your brain. But here's the kicker. It only switches on when you are in deep, slow-wave sleep. If you don't get that deep sleep, that biological trash just stays in the streets, so to speak.
So, the big question is, how do we get more of that good stuff? Here are 4 simple steps. 1. Cool your room down to 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Your body's core temperature has to drop for deep cellular repair. 2. Create a 3-hour buffer. Stop eating 3 hours before bed. This helps shift your body from growth mode into repair mode. 3. Make your room pitch dark. I mean, really dark. This maximizes melatonin, which is a powerful antioxidant. And 4. Try a vagal reset. Just spend 5 minutes doing long, extended exhale breaths. This calms your nervous system and lowers inflammation. We've arrived at the number 1 habit, the one I promised you we'd get to. Now, get ready for this. A massive 20-year study out of UC San Diego found that correcting this one single thing was associated with a staggering 52% reduction in cancer mortality. No, that is not a typo. 52%. So what is it? Habit number 1 is all about flipping the metabolic master switch. What I'm talking about is time-restricted eating, which activates a process in your body called autophagy. This discovery was so profound, it won the Nobel Prize back in 2016. Autophagy literally means self-eating, and it's your body's ancient built-in quality control system for deep cellular cleaning.
And here's how you do it, nice and easy. If you're used to grazing all day, just start with a simple 12-hour fast for the first week or 2. Stop eating at 7 p.m., don't eat again until 7 a.m. Then, you can gradually push your breakfast a little later, bit by bit, until you reach a 16-hour fast with an 8-hour eating window. See, when you stop eating for about 14 to 16 hours, your body flips this magical switch into autophagy, and it begins this search and destroy mission for old, damaged, and even precancerous cells.
And this isn't just some theory in a lab. Let me tell you about Robert, one of my patients. He was a 55-year-old businessman who thought skipping breakfast was the craziest idea he'd ever heard. Well, after just 1 month on a 16/8 schedule, he lost 10 pounds of that really dangerous belly fat. He's 65 now, and he tells me he honestly feels younger than he did at 45 because, in his words, he made his body profoundly inhospitable to cancer. I love that. Now, while these habits are absolutely king, here's a quick bonus toolkit for you. Just 4 supplements that have really strong evidence for support after 60. You've got vitamin D3 with K2 for your immune system, magnesium glycinate for DNA repair, omega-3s to fight inflammation, and berberine, which actually helps activate some of the same repair pathways as fasting.
Okay, I want to talk directly to you for a second. If you're 60, 70, or even 80, you might be thinking, it's too late for me, the window for change has closed. Well, the research says you are wrong. Your cells do not have a birth certificate. They only know the signals you are sending them today. So here's your plan for tomorrow morning. 1. Hydrate.
Drink those 20 ounces of lemon water. 2. Move. Go for a 20-minute walk in the sun. And 3. Wait. Just try to hold off on your first meal until 11 a.m. It really is that simple to start. And that brings me to my final question for you. Which of these 5 habits are you going to start first? Go ahead and leave a comment below. I'd love to hear it. Just remember, your body has this incredible innate capacity to protect and heal itself. Your job is simply to create the right conditions for it to do its amazing work. I'm Dr. Davidson. Stay well.